5 days ago, the war in Eastern Europe changed forever. It was the night of October 17, 2025, a cold, silent night near Luhansk, and above those frozen fields, 35 Ukrainian drones were waiting. Their mission was secret, their patience deadly. For nearly a week before the strike, Ukrainian intelligence had been intercepting strange military chatter, encrypted messages, satellite pings, supply movement deep inside Russian-controlled zones. Something didn't add up until they realized the impossible. North Korean tanks were being moved through Russia, headed straight for the Ukrainian front. The news spread through Kiev's underground command centers like wildfire. It wasn't just Russia anymore. Pyongyang had entered the game. North Korea had quietly supplied Moscow with an experimental armored column, 30 heavy tanks, and dozens of support vehicles, hoping to tip the balance in Russia's favor. But Ukraine had already found them. On October 16th, a full day before the convoy was due to move, Ukraine's drone division set their trap. The operation was codenamed Whisper. 35 ghost drones were dispatched, each armed with precision explosives and guided by a new AI-assisted system designed in secret by Ukrainian engineers. Their target, the armored column crossing near the Zamohyria corridor at exactly 1:30 a.m. For nearly 6 hours, those drones hovered in total silence above the icy plains. The operators, mostly young men and women in their 20s, watched through grainy infrared screens, barely breathing. Every second that passed tightened the tension in the bunker. Then at 1:27 a.m., the convoy appeared. Black shapes moved slowly across the frosted terrain, the first North Korean tanks ever seen in combat outside the Korean peninsula. Engines rumbled, radios crackled. The lead commander's voice was heard saying, "We cross before dawn." But Ukraine was already watching. The order came over encrypted channel: hold, wait for full formation. The operators obeyed. For 12 agonizing minutes, they watched the convoy roll deeper into the trap. And then, at 1:39 a.m., one simple word lit up every monitor: fire. The first explosion tore the night apart. A massive orange blast engulfed the lead tank, hurling its turret into the air like a toy. Seconds later, the second drone struck, then the third. In the next 90 seconds, the battlefield turned into a storm of fire, smoke, and steel. Soldiers on the ground screamed in confusion. Some fired wildly into the sky, others abandoned their vehicles. But it didn't matter. The ghost drones were invisible, fast, and relentless. Every movement was tracked, every heat signature locked. By 2:00 a.m., the valley was a graveyard. 35 drones had unleashed hell with perfect coordination, and in just under half an hour, the entire armored column was gone. When the sun rose hours later, reconnaissance units moved in. The landscape was unrecognizable: burn, doubt shells, melted tracks, twisted steel. But among the wreckage, investigators made a stunning discovery. Markings in Korean characters, serial numbers, manufacturer codes, undeniable proof that these tanks came from North Korea. By October 18th, the footage had reached Kiev, and from there, it spread to the world. News outlets broke the story within hours. North Korean tanks destroyed in Ukraine airstrike. Moscow denied it immediately. Pyongyang stayed silent. But the images didn't lie. Charred armor, captured drones, and intercepted communications left no doubt. Inside the Kremlin, the mood was chaos. Russian generals demanded answers. Putin's intelligence advisors were blamed for the failure. One insider leaked a chilling quote: "Our allies have embarrassed us in front of the entire world." In Kiev, the mood was very different. President Zelensky quietly congratulated the drone division. The engineers who built the ghost drones were hailed as national heroes. These weren't imported weapons, they were Ukrainian-made, built in secret factories under constant bombardment. Analysts began calling the event the Night of the Ghosts. For the first time, the world saw what modern drone warfare could really do, how technology and courage could destroy even the most heavily armored force. 3 days later, the U.S. Department of Defense confirmed that NATO satellites had supported the operation with live thermal imaging. It was a silent alliance, no public statements, no official credit, but the message was clear. The West was still watching. Meanwhile, North Korea reacted with fury. Reports from Seoul indicated that Kim Jong-un ordered an emergency investigation into how his tanks were destroyed so easily. Inside Pyongyang, propaganda channels went dark for 2 days, an unprecedented silence. Back in Ukraine, the drone operators finally stepped outside after 72 sleepless hours underground. One of them, a 23-year-old named Danilo, spoke to a reporter and said quietly, "We waited for them because they didn't wait for us when they invaded. This was not just a strike, it was justice." By October 22nd, new satellite images confirmed the scale of the destruction. What had once been a 40-vehicle armored column was now a field of wreckage visible from space. The attack crippled Russia's supply routes and delayed an entire offensive in the east. Defense analysts now believe this single strike changed the momentum of the front line and sent a warning to every nation considering direct involvement. Ukraine sees everything. Ukraine hits back. Even now, the footage continues to circulate: 35 silent drones waiting in the darkness, then descending in perfect synchronization, turning a symbol of power into a field of fire. And as global powers analyze that footage, one truth becomes clearer each day. The age of the tank is ending, and the age of the drone has begun. Because on the night of October 17th, 2025, when 35 Ukrainian drones waited for North Korean tanks to cross, they didn't just destroy metal. They destroyed a message that no army, no alliance, no dictator is untouchable. And for Ukraine, that night will forever be remembered as the moment when ghosts from the sky rewrote the rules of war.